Good afternoon and welcome to the Happy Half Hour. I'm Leigh Kubin, Master Certified Life Coach and Weight Loss Coach.
I'm Sandra Priestley. I'm a coach for female entrepreneurs and I'm a feng shui practitioner. And it's the new year.
Happy New Year!
Happy New Year to you. I am drinking coffee today and out of my Don't Mess with Texas mug in support of what I thought was you being kick-ass and tough. But as it turns out, it is an anti-litter campaign that I think is brilliant. So we'll talk about that a little bit later. But what are you drinking, Leigh?
I am drinking, I was going to be drinking Prosperity for our first show of the new year. But I decided it would be best if I had a glass of sparkling water.
Oh. And why is this?
Well, because on New Year's Eve, we lost Betty White. And it broke my heart because I'm a huge Betty White fan. She reminds me of my grandma. And not that my grandmother ever behaved that way, but she would have if she could have. That they just were cut from the same cloth. So when midnight came, and it was New York midnight, it was not Texas midnight because I went to bed at 11, or 11:05. But when they had the New York, bring in the drop, we cheersed, and rather than acknowledge 2020, we toasted Betty White. And 1 week into the New Year's, we all have COVID. And our hot water heater went out.
Oh my gosh.
So I feel like that 2022 was kind of pissed, but I don't care.
Betty White was worth it.
Cheers to Betty White.
Cheers to Betty White with our coffee and our water.
Yes.
Oh, I love her so much too.
I know.
But you know what's interesting is that here, my husband started to feel a little sick, just tired. I think on New Year's Eve, he went to bed at 9:30. And we had company that weekend. Just my son and his girlfriend were here from Edmonton, from university. And he was sick. And we have, I don't know if you have these in Texas, but in Alberta, we have a lot of rapid tests, just home tests for COVID. And so he was testing every day because he was just sort of feeling kind of achy and crappy, but he was testing every day and he was testing negative. And I think they say if you're negative with symptoms, you should test in 3 days, but we had a number of them. So he was testing every day just to see. And then Tuesday morning, when my son and his girlfriend left, he tested positive for COVID. So he, he had relatively minor symptoms. So, he just had overall muscle ache and chills, night sweats, and that was pretty much it. So he was really lucky. Realistically, without the chills, it's a 50-year-old female in perimenopause. I mean, aches and night sweats. And so, but he had the chills along with it. But he's isolating, and that's about it. The rest of us haven't got it.
Oh, good.
So
yes, 6 of us got it. And I don't know.
Out of 6? Out of 6? 6 out of 6?
Out of probably 10 or 12. But here's the thing, is that part of those people, even, 4 of them, 4, 5, 6. So there might be 8 of us that have it. We haven't seen since Christmas. And then the other ones are from New Year's. But we all got it right at the same time. So we're very confused. We don't know if we just happened to get it all at the same time or if it was left over from Christmas. We have no idea. But it's just been a couple of days. I was really tired yesterday. It's like a cold. So I'm grateful because I know some people it's not. but I've been able to work from home, you know, just do Zoom calls and phone calls, and yeah, I even showered today.
Well, and good for you. Yeah, I'm, you know, hopefully we're coming out of this. It does seem like they're saying that there's a number of people in hospital, but that this strain seems to be more like a cold.
Yeah.
So hopefully we're coming out of this.
So yeah, I'm ready to be done. I don't like missing work. You know, I like being in the office with everybody. So this is definitely weird for me, but that's okay. For whatever reason, I need this time, and I'm going to enjoy it.
Oh, good for you. Yes. And so thankful that you're not seeing any like really bad symptoms, you know, none of you. So that's good. So do you want to hear like all my, I'm serious. I researched my mug. I researched Don't Mess with Texas. Like, I was so shocked. My husband went down to, I think he was down in Houston, and he asked me what I wanted. And I said, I want a big Don't Mess with Texas mug. Like, and so, and like, seriously, I had no idea what it was. I thought it was like, you guys are big and tough down in Texas. Like, I mean,
you know,
badasses down in Texas, like, watch out. And so he comes back with this like nice, I like the big mugs, like 20 ounces. So he comes back with this nice big Don't Mess with Texas mug. And for some reason, I'm thinking, okay, I know it's everywhere. And so I Googled, where did this come from? Like, why is this the slogan? And I'm thinking it's like, you know, because you guys like carry guns. I did not know. And then it comes back with, it was an anti-litter campaign. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
This is freaking brilliant. And so I kept looking, and I had to go back and write it down again. But like, so it was developed in 1985 by the Department of Transportation. Like, they'd hired these people, like marketers, because the Department of Transportation was spending $20 million annually on litter removal from the highways.
Crazy.
$20 million in 1985, I might add, is like different than $20 million now, right? Like 20 million then is like, so anyway, then I was like, oh, I should have Googled this morning, what is the litter removal in 2022 or 2021. But so it went down by 1990, the litter went down by like the cost of removing the litter went down by 72%. Like, this is the most brilliant idea. Who came up with this idea? I do not know, but they are brilliant. Like, I'm so impressed. Like, what a way to get all Texans, like they said, you know, to target the Texans to be proud of their state. And I'm like, this is like the best. Like, so all of a sudden everyone is like, yeah, we're a badass, we don't litter. Like, you know, It didn't mean that, but it does.
Yes.
And I am just like, wow. I was just, you know, and this is why things go viral, because it's like this feel, right? Like, you get this feeling of like, yeah, we are badasses.
Where you belong. Man, we need to start a team like that. I know you're in Canada, but here, to bring everybody back together, that's what we need, is a Don't Mess with Texas, but like on a grand scale.
Yeah.
What does that look like?
I don't know, but we'll figure it out.
We will figure it out.
We will figure it out. I just thought it was like the coolest thing. Like, I just sat there, I'm thinking, okay, now my mug is like,
has a whole new meaning
about marketing, about this brilliant person. Like, I need to figure out who this person was that came up with this idea.
Okay,
I think it says actually who the marketers were. Anyway, brilliant. But back off of that, thinking of, I need to declutter a little bit from Christmas. But
I got all of my Christmas stuff down January 1st. We got the bedroom painted. Oh my gosh, I cannot wait for you to see the finished bedroom.
Which one did you do?
Our master.
You're a master?
So we got the master painted. Paul got my my door hung up, my sliding door. What's it called?
Oh, the barn door.
The barn door. Yeah, that's up.
Nice.
We're waiting on the shutters, and when we get the shutters, we're gonna stain the door the same color as the shutters.
I love it.
And then I'll have to show you because it feels amazing. But all that did was light a fire under my ass to want to get the rest of the house painted. And then we got COVID.
Oh.
But that's okay because I might just paint this afternoon when we're done.
You needed, oh, there you go. Because now you're stuck in, stay safe at home. You're safe at home where everyone. Okay, so now I want to chat about the Gabby Bernstein manifestation challenge. Because we're both,
oh my gosh,
we're both doing it. I love Gabby. In fact, I think my husband loves her more. Like he's like a huge Gabby fan. But I'm so glad that you said that you were doing it because I'm just having so much fun. And
amazing.
Like so much of what she says aligns with the way that I've kind of come through from, like, I was stuck in my head with like 10,000 thoughts running through my mind all the time. And I burnt myself out. And then I had to sit back and realize that my thoughts were not my thoughts were just things I think. They were just stories that I'm telling myself. And I can choose to tell another story and I can stop those like racing thoughts. And it took me some time and it took me some meditation, but I really loved how she it's just simple how she does it. And so, how she was saying, like, just be an observer of your thoughts throughout the day. And so she has a 3-step, I can't remember what day that was on, like 6 or no, I don't know. One of the days, this day 4, maybe, where she said, observe the thought. And if it's negative, observe the negative thought or negative feeling. And then forgive yourself for thinking that thought, because we often do that, right? Like we get into these manifesting challenges and then it's like, oh my gosh, I'm thinking a bad thought. I'm going to like manifest bad in my life.
Already.
I'm awful. I can't do this. And so it's like, okay, you're human. Forgive yourself for thinking of that thought and choose again. And the one thing that I think a lot of people get stuck with, a lot of my clients anyway, get stuck with this, like, going from this belief of, or this statement, let's say, let's go with weight loss. I can't stand, the size of me. I'm so heavy. And then we expect someone, okay, so we recognize that's a negative thought. And then we choose again, but we think we have to choose again thinking I am so slim and sexy. And it's like something we can't believe. And so the thing that I love about Gabby is like she just says, like, just go a little bit.
Yeah. Find something to appreciate.
Right. Just a little bit more, like just a little bit more happy.
You don't have to love your whole body, but if you have nice toes, appreciate them.
Right.
If you have a nice ass, appreciate it.
Find gratitude.
If you have no ass like me, you appreciate something else. But it's so funny and this doesn't just apply to the way you look at your body, any area of our life. When we start seeing something that we're doing well, or that we can really like, oh, that feels good. All it does is lead us to more and more that feels good. And before you know it, whatever situation that you were judging, that you are now loving, is a whole different relationship.
But don't you think too that without consciously choosing it, we tend to minimize all of our gifts? Like we don't really sit in gratitude. A lot of times it's like, oh, I've achieved this. Oh yeah, good for me. Because like whatever our gifts are, we tend to just like minimize them, right? Because they come so easy to us. This is one of the things that I love in business coaching. I'm like, okay, the things that come easy to you were God-given gifts. Let's go there. Let's stop hammering the shit out of the fact that you aren't good with the tech stuff. Like, let's build a business that's not relying on tech stuff. You don't need to. So, like,
somebody to do that. Like,
like shift to use your gifts and shift to really like acknowledge and be sitting in gratitude for the good stuff. And we tend to minimize it, right? We like to hammer the heck out of all of our weaknesses. And so this is just a shift. But my favorite day was this question of, she said, what are you a yes for?
I love that day too.
Like, and I just thought, oh my gosh, what am I a yes for?
Look what we're a yes for.
Oh, this is so
in the nice. Room, but it says January 2022, we say yes to love, gratitude, adventures, and compassion.
And so it's like, I love this. It's like one of those, for the listeners, it's like one of those little push, what are they called? Those little boards, you know, they push all the letters
all
into.
The letters. And,
so
and what was interesting about putting this together was, and I wish I had my box of letters out, but there is a box that's that big, and it's full of letters. Got hundreds of letters, all different sizes. So I'm taking down the Christmas one because we had something, you know, with the grandbabies. It actually said the shitter is full. Merry Christmas.
Aww.
But when I'm listening to Gabby, I'm like, what am I a yes to? Put it on that board. And so I'm going through all the letters. They're all mixed up. Like there's no rhyme or reason to where one might be. So I'm like, I need a big Y. And poof, it appeared. And then I'm, you know, going through trying to find the next letter, and I'm not finding it. So I'm like, well, it worked last time. So I called for it. I needed this. And it popped up over and over. And it blew my mind because I'm like, why don't I do that in life? Like when I know I need something, rather than think and stress and worry or whatever, why don't I just fucking ask for it? But lesson for 2022.
Lesson for 2022. Thank you, Betty White. But it's not just, I'm sure she's up there saying, you know, I know that you took one for the team here. You
did.
You had some, you know, 2022 came in with a bit of unfortunate, but I will help you with your letters and everything you want.
So maybe that was Betty.
Maybe it was. No, but seriously, like I think, you know, especially with manifestation, we can do that, right? Like we can ask for things and then they just show up when we detach from the need.
Yes. Because there wasn't I have to have this right now. It was just like, I need this. And kind of it was ingested in the beginning. But when the numbers or the letters just started showing up, I was like, there's something to this.
This is super cool. And I've had that happen. Okay, not that cool, like with all of the letters and things, but I've had that happen to me too. And I thought, okay, what is the difference when I ask, if I were to ask for $10 million falling in my lap right now, what is the difference? And it's just the energy and my belief.
And your resistance.
Right? My resistance to flow.
Because I had no resistance to letters because I knew they were all there. So as soon as my resistance went up, poof, they're right in front of me.
Yeah.
So what if we could go into our life with no resistance because it's all there? Everything that the $10 million, or the $200, like It's all there.
Exactly.
So we think, oh, 200 is more attainable. So maybe I'll hope for that instead of the 10 million, but really there's no difference.
It's just the only difference is the resistance.
Mhm.
Our personal resistance. One of the things that I often, when I do like wealth work with my clients, one of the things that I used to love to do was, well, I still do, is like I visualize myself with money just like fluttering to me, like falling from the ceiling. And what that represents to me is like money coming from all different areas, and just like the freedom of that, like just the freedom of like, you just don't know where it could come from. I always say, like, we sort of bottleneck this manifestation process if we think, okay, I want, like, if we make it too detailed. That's the way I am anyway. It's like, I want $20,000 and I want it to come, on this date in this way. And like, it makes it so much more difficult. But when I can just sit back and just go, okay, money flows effortlessly to me.
Yes.
Money flows from all different avenues. Money comes from all, the most amazing stuff has happened. Like, I have been able to, when I sit in that energy, you wouldn't believe how much money just like comes from weird ways, like weird. And we can do that with anything. And that's what Gabby's really talking about, right? Yeah. Like we're always in flow. It's either we're going with it or we're in resistance to it.
How does Abraham describe it? Like, it's like you're on the river, and the river's going down this way, but you've got your boat pointed up trying to go that way against it instead of just riding the river. Everything we need is downstream.
Yeah. And letting it be okay. Letting it be okay if there's rocks and there's, sticks or logs or whatever, like, just like, I always say, I have these crazy sayings all the time, but I always say, like, do you remember when you were little? Maybe it was just me, I don't know, but I lived in the country, and we lived on a acreage, and we had like a big, huge gravel drive, like wide gravel drive. And so when we were little, we would go out, because like there was 2 channels and like gray and white, like black and white TV. And no shows and no internet, of course. And so we would go out and play a lot. And my brother and I, when it would rain, my brother and I would go and we would get our rubber boots on and go and play in the mud puddles, like, because why not? And one of the things I always noticed was like we would always see these big, huge mud puddles, and we would take our rubber boots, the back of our rubber boots, and like drag the dirt so that the stream would empty, right? Like the mud puddle would empty and it would create a stream. And we would always do this. And I swear that is how I see manifestation. It's in everything. Like all of a sudden, it's just like one move, one shift, one act can create the flow again. Like it can create, it's just like one thing. And I've seen it time and time and time and time again. You sign up with one coach, you decide you're going to, it doesn't matter, right? Like you're going to apply for that job.
Pick up the phone to call somebody that is on your like nudge list.
Right? Like it could just be one tiny thing. And that one thing just is like taking the stick out, like the little dam out of your gravel drive, or just like digging with your rubber boot, like, and all of a sudden everything flows again.
Yes.
Just like the way that it was meant to. Isn't it
fun to watch though?
Oh my gosh, yes.
Like, especially when you don't know what's going to happen, but you're like, you know how you feel, you know what you want, you know it's coming. And it's like, how's the universe going to make this show up for me today?
I know. It is
And
so cool.
even when you have the obstacles that pop up, it's always for a reason. I mean, there's always something to be learned, something, I could have freaked out that, oh my gosh, I'm stuck in the house, can't go anywhere. But I've got stuff to do. Rest, I think, is part of it. But I feel like it's been a gift to have some time for quiet and for no distraction and no people coming by. And I think life is kind of how we react to it as much or more than what happens to us.
Totally.
Because when we are all fired up and knotted up about things that we have no control over, it's a lot more stressful than when we go, okay, go with the flow.
Well, and that's what, like, even with The Secret, right? When you watch the movie The Secret and they say, like, when you stub your toe and then all of a sudden all these bad things happen, right. It's not because you stubbed your toe and today is shit. It's because you're pissed because you stubbed your toe.
Right.
And then, like, your vibration, your frequency that you emit is this frequency of frustration, right?
If we could stop ourselves when we stub our toe and say, is this the day you want to have? Or you want to create something new? Like in that moment, it would completely shift the rest of our day.
Just being in awareness of it, right? Like how Gabby says, like, just, be aware of your thoughts and your feelings, let it go. Don't judge yourself for having them, and then choose again.
Well, and if you say
fuck so
when you hit your toe and you can feel that energy and then go, that's not what I want. That's
not today.
Talking about. Not today.
Yeah. There's this Winnie the Pooh quote that I used to have in my kitchen, and I love it so much. And it said, I just pulled it up, and it says, when it's Winnie the Pooh and Piglet talking. And it says, when you wake up in the morning, Pooh, said Piglet at last, what's the first thing you say to yourself? What's for breakfast, said Pooh. What do you say, Piglet? I say, I wonder what's going to happen exciting today, said Piglet. Pooh nodded thoughtfully. It's the same thing, he said. And I swear every Monday, that's what I think. Every single Monday. Well, more so when I was at work, like working, going to work on Monday morning. But I was always thinking, ooh, what exciting thing is going to happen this week? Like, what exciting, like, what kind of cool things will happen this week? And I swear that shifts for me.
Oh, it's
when
amazing.
I get in that energy of like, holy shit, what kind of cool stuff is going to happen? And when it doesn't, when bad things happen or, perceived bad things, I just think, whoa, okay, now where do I shift to? Like, now what kind of cool things are going to respond to this? And how can I just like stay emotionally in control as much as possible? When I quit work, I am not kidding you, I decided that I was going to quit work. I put in my notice, and we had $20,000 worth of bills come up. Like just bizarre things, like my daughter's car needed a new engine. We needed to buy a new fridge for my son's condo, like all of these random crazy things. And my husband and I just sat and thought, well, he just like laughed and said, oh, okay, like seriously, this is crazy. But we just kind of sat in this, wow, what is going to happen for us in the future? And when we can sit in that, it stops the sort of cycle of crap happening.
Yes.
And it's like all of a sudden it propels us into something greater.
Yes.
It was
and it's fun to watch the manifestation of that.
Totally.
I remember we needed a new garage door. Ours just, I don't know what went out, but we needed a full-on new garage door. And we didn't have the money for it. Like, it wasn't in the budget. And we looked at each other and we're like, wonder what's coming. Like, I wonder how, like, we're getting a new garage door. Something's coming. And it was this weird shift in the way that we focused on that. And there was a bonus at work, or there was something like that was, and it was probably from Paul's work, that paid for the new garage door. And it was like, and then we laughed, and like our hearts were full, because it was like, we fucking did that. Like, we knew it was, we felt it, and boom, there it showed up. And it's like we've had the money to get our water heater replaced for, I don't know, a couple of years. We've been saying we need to do this, we need to do this. We've got the money, but the fact that it's still working, we're both kind of dragging our feet, like, how much can I get the current one?
Yeah.
Well, of course it picks, day one of COVID to go out. But all I could think about was how grateful I was that all we had to do is pick up our phone, call our old neighbor, who is a Mr. Tankless, and he comes out and gets everything taken care of. And so, and then there's that heart full of gratitude, but we get to create it in any way we want it. And it's so much fun to watch it just unfold. And sometimes those spots where you don't know how it's going to unfold, you're like, shit, I don't see it out. And then you find a way to let go, and it shows up for you.
Always. Always. But I think the key is letting go.
Yeah. Oh, that's it.
Because otherwise we just like strangle the manifestation process, right? Because we hold on to this, life sucks, why is this happening, we can't afford this, I don't know what I'm going to do, and we just strangle this, like, the magic from coming to us.
Right.
I think it's Miriam Williamson with A Course in Miracles, and she always says, like, abundance is at the door, and all we need to do is open it. And sometimes, like, these things come to us and we don't open the door, and so it goes out into the ethos. Yeah. But, like, sometimes it's just like, okay, what you got for me? And
it's like Christmas.
Yeah.
What's in there? I want to open it.
Yeah.
Wow.
So cool. We must be, our time must be up.
Our time is up. Yeah, I'm looking.
Okay.
But it's New Year's. It's 2022.
Yeah, we got to celebrate.
Yes. Well,
this was so fun.
I've enjoyed this little meeting in the vortex today.
Yes, man, that would have been a good name for our podcast too, In the Vortex, because it's like seriously magic when we get together. It's like we're in the vortex.
We are in the vortex. And what's interesting is that all week long after we meet, I'm constantly thinking and focused, and no matter what I'm doing, about what I want. And I think it's because we spend, probably an hour at least together every week in the vortex.
Yeah.
So I'm grateful for that.
Yeah, me too. Who could have guessed
I know
this would all happen? It happened so quickly.
Off of a little phone call. I got a nudge. Listen to this nudge.
And follow them right away.
Absolutely. Well, thank you guys for joining us. We will see you next week, where we will open the bottle of prosperity, and hopefully
I'm going to see if we can get that wine here in Canada. How cool.
I'll talk to Grape Creek and see if they can
send
ship
some
it.
up. Yeah. Cool.
Bye, guys. See you next week.
Bye.